Hey there, folks. I'm Wade Carver, the guy who accidentally turned Pinewood Valley into Texas's biggest comedy stage. Picture this. My family, fresh to our new ranch, had a blast painting our barn fire engine red because my wife, Sarah, is obsessed with the color. But then, Dolores Pritchard, the HOA queen with a knack for making grown adults cry, swooped in, slapping us with a $1,000 fine and calling our barn an artistic crime right in front of my kids. Oh. And she topped it off by dubbing me a tacky hillbilly. So, I didn't just get even. I painted the community lot blazing red with cartoon murals of Dolores in her legendary red t-shirt, threw a festival that had the whole town doubled over laughing, and booted her out of Pinewood Valley. If you've ever been tormented by an HOA or just crave a wildly hilarious revenge tale, buckle up, because I turned that fine into a red-hot party for the whole community. I'm Wade Carver, 42, and after selling my construction company, I moved with my wife, Sarah, and our kids, Mia, 15, and Ethan, 17, to a 12-acre ranch in Pinewood Valley, Texas. We wanted open spaces, good schools, and the free-spirited vibe of the grasslands. But I never imagined a HOA president named Dolores Pritchard would turn our Texas dream into a wild comedy show. It all kicked off on a blistering July afternoon. The whole family was gathered, painting our new barn a blazing red. Sarah's idea, since she loves all things vibrant. It'll pop against the fields, she said, eyes sparkling. I'm 5'11", solid with suntanned skin from years in construction, and I laughed. Wielding a paintbrush, Mia, petite with light brown skin, doodled patterns on a paint can, while Ethan, tall and freckle-faced, rolled paint steadily, earbuds in. We were joking around, thinking the red was the perfect ranch touch. Then, a shrill voice sliced through our fun. What in tarnation are you people doing? Dolores Pritchard, 58, plump with a potbelly and pale skin, marched up, brandishing a fine notice with the force of a weapon. Her short blonde hair was meticulously styled, but her face was twisted, cold blue eyes glaring at the barn as if it had personally offended her ancestors. She wore a red t-shirt and black pants, looking like an angry tomato. This barn is an artistic crime, she shrieked. $1,000 fine for ruining Pinewood Valley's aesthetic. I stepped forward, trying to stay calm, though my blood was boiling. This is our property, Ms. Pritchard. Red's a ranch staple. Where's the rule against it? She snorted, her voice echoing across the yard, loud enough for neighbors to hear. Mr. Carver, you're a tacky hillbilly dragging this gaudy family to ruin our community. Mia, clutching her sketchbook, eyes wide, and Ethan, yanking out his earbuds, face flushed with embarrassment. Sarah gripped my hand, whispering, "Don't let her win, Wade." I took a deep breath, voice low. Send me the specific rule, Miss Pritchard. We'll review it. She smirked, tossing the fine notice to the ground, spinning on her polished shoes, and strutting off like she'd won a war. Mia picked up the paper, voice trembling. Why's she so mean, Dad? Ethan muttered. She thinks she's the queen or something. Sarah hugged them both, looking at me. Wade, she's gone too far. That night, I checked my email. No rules about barn colors. I dug into the HOA and Dolores. Turns out, she ran Valley Vista Properties, a sketchy real estate outfit, on social media. She flaunted outdoor parties with bright red tablecloths. No fines for her aesthetic crimes. Her hypocrisy set me off. Then I found a gem in the HOA bylaws. The community lot, used for festivals, was leased from Pinewood Holdings, and the lease was expiring in 6 weeks. I sensed an opportunity. The next morning, while checking a fence, I ran into Carl Jenkins, a retired neighbor. He, with dark skin and a lean frame, grimaced when I mentioned the fine. Dolores did that to me, he said, voice low. $500 for a substandard mailbox. If you want the dirt, swing by my place. I've got stories about her. His eyes glinted with mischief, and I knew I'd found an ally. Dolores might think she owned Pinewood Valley, but I was ready to make red her worst nightmare. After Dolores Pritchard's insult over our red barn and the $1,000 fine, I, Wade Carver, Knew I couldn't let her run rampant. Pinewood Valley was my family's new home, and I wasn't about to let an HOA tyrant turn it into a nightmare. Carl Jenkins, a retired neighbor, opened the first door to understanding Dolores. The next morning, I visited his simple wooden house, the scent of iced tea wafting from the porch. Carl, lean with dark skin and cropped gray hair, poured tea into 2 big glasses. Dolores runs Pinewood Valley like a duchess, he said, voice thick with frustration. She finds people for nonsense ugly mailboxes, messy wildflowers. Most folks pay up and shut up. His sharp brown eyes locked on me. But you, Wade, don't seem like the type to back down. In a faded green plaid shirt and jeans, he sat in an armchair, his gaze glinting with mischief. I recounted the barn incident, the fine, the tacky hillbilly jab in front of Mia and Ethan. Carl nodded, unsurprised. She targets newcomers, especially those who don't obey. But here's something you need to know. He pulled a worn folder from a drawer, flipping to a marked page. The community lot, where they hold festivals, isn't owned by the HOA. It's leased from Pinewood Holdings, and the lease expires in 6 weeks. He smirked, a cunning grin. Pinewood's drowning in debt. They might sell cheap, and Dolores knows it. The news hit me like a spark. With 20 years in construction, I was used to spotting opportunities in chaos. You're saying Dolores wants to buy the lot? Carl nodded. She's planning condos through her company, Valley Vista Properties. I bet she'll push an HOA fee to raise the cash. Adrenaline surged, but I needed more info. Carl suggested meeting Lena Ortiz, a bank teller he called Pinewood Valley's numbers wizard. That afternoon, I went to Lena's small house, its white picket fence framing a lush vegetable garden. Lena, with olive skin and long black hair, greeted me with a determined look, in a beige blouse and slacks. Her warm face contrasted with fierce hazel eyes. I've been tracking Dolores for a while, she said, leading me to her living room, where a laptop displayed spreadsheets. She's not just a prickly president. She's playing a bigger game. Lena pointed to the screen, revealing jaw-dropping data. Over 8 years, new or minority residents got fined 4 times more than Dolores's cronies. The fines forced them to sell homes cheap, only for the properties to be scooped up by Valley Vista Properties, shell companies. She never buys directly, Lena explained, uses names like Sunset Ventures, but they all trace back to her. She added, Dolores is negotiating to buy the community lot for $35,000. But Pinewood Holdings wants cash net. I was floored. The barn fine wasn't just arrogance. It was part of a scheme to control Pinewood Valley. Why hasn't anyone fought back? I asked. Lena sighed. Fear. Dolores has friends on the city council. One guy, Miguel Flores, challenged her and got fined until he sold his house. I left Lena's with fire in my veins. That night, I told Sarah, Mia, and Ethan. Sarah, with golden skin and fierce green eyes, grabbed my hand. Wade, she thinks she can humiliate us and walk away. Do something. Mia, sketching a cartoon of Dolores, said, Dad, paint her red. Ethan laughed. Kick her out. My family was my biggest fuel. Carl arranged a secret meeting in his garage, inviting Lena and other residents Dolores had bullied. Each shared a story. Fines for shrubs, barking dogs, even uneven grass. I revealed the lot discovery. If we buy it before her, game over, I said. Lena nodded. I've got a contact at Pinewood Holdings. Carl grinned. Let's catch her off guard. I knew I had allies, and red wasn't just paint anymore. It was our weapon. With Dolores Pritchard's plot for the community lot in my crosshairs, I felt like I held a winning card. That lot, Pinewood Valley's festival ground, was the key to bringing her down. With intel from Carl Jenkins and Lena Ortiz, I knew Dolores aimed to snatch it for condos through her Valley Vista Properties, but I wasn't letting her get away with it. I wanted revenge. And this time, it'd be sharp, bold, and laugh out loud funny. That night at the dinner table, I shared the plan with my family. Sarah, with fierce green eyes, grabbed my hand. Wade, this isn't just about our red barn. It's for the whole neighborhood. Mia, petite, eagerly sketched a cartoon of Dolores in a red cowboy hat, saying, Dad, make it totally wild. Ethan, lanky with a freckled face, cracked up. Paint the whole town red. Dad. Their cheers lit a fire in. This wasn't just personal. It was for Pinewood Valley. Lena, in our secret messaging group, pitched a strategy. Let Dolores dig her own grave. She'll soon push an HOA fee to protect the lot. Lena wrote, let her get caught in her lies. Then we hit. I nodded. Dolores was too cocky, and that'd be her Achilles heel. But we had to move fast. Lena called Tom Hargrove, Pinewood Holdings CFO, confirming Dolores was offering $35,000 for the lot. But banks weren't buying her company's debt-ridden pitch. I decided to meet Tom face to face. Lena set up a meeting at a quiet coffee shop outside town to dodge Dolores's snoops. Tom, with thinning red hair, strolled in wearing a wrinkled gray suit. His tired gray eyes sized me up. Dolores's $35,000 is shaky credit, he said, voice flat. Got something better. In a navy button-up and jeans, I flashed a grin honed from years of construction deals, $4,000. All cash. Wrapped up in 7 days, Tom blinked, then shook my hand. Prep the paperwork, if you pull it off. The lot's yours. I set up Carver Holdings LLC, a shell company to buy the lot under the radar. This had to stay top secret if Dolores caught a whiff. She'd pull some dirty tricks. Meanwhile, she ramped up her attacks. 2 days after meeting Tom, I got a new fine. $300 for an overly bright porch light. Mia was hit with $100 for scattered art supplies while sketching in the yard. Ethan got a warning for disruptive biking, though he was just looping the house. Carl reported a fine for a non-compliant fence, and Lena got one for a misplaced trash can. These weren't just petty, they were meant to break us. Sarah, though fuming, kept her cool. She's panicking. Wade, don't let her rattle you. But when Mia came home, eyes red from kids at school taunting her as the troublemaker's kid gossip spread by Dolores's minions, I nearly lost it. I wanted to barge into her house, but Carl texted the group, hold tight, Wade. She's about to bury herself. I took a deep breath, thinking back to construction bids where rivals played dirty, but I won by waiting for the perfect shot. Dolores didn't let me down. A week later, she called an emergency HOA meeting to pitch a lot preservation plan. Lena predicted she'd push a monthly fee, pretending it was for the community, but really to bankroll her land grab. Me, Carl, Lena, and our secret crew planned to show up, playing the part of obedient residents. I prepped the lot's ownership papers and called my cousin, a deputy sheriff, for some extra drama. Mia, drawing another caricature of Dolores with her potbelly busting out of her red t-shirt, said, Dad, make her eat her words. Ethan nodded. Give her a red-hot wake-up call. While waiting, I locked in the Pinewood Holdings deal via email. Tom confirmed. If the money landed on time, the lot was mine. I started scheming a hilarious payback, painting the lot with blazing red murals, including Dolores in absurd poses, paired with an art festival, to make the town howl with laughter. Carl roared when he heard it. Wade, you'll make her wish she never saw your barn. Lena chimed in. I'll expose her fining data. The residents deserve the truth. Each new fine from Dolores only hardened my resolve. I thought back to facing cutthroat competitors in construction, winning by staying cool and striking at the right moment. This time, the lot was my ace, and red would be the knockout punch. Hey! If you're pumped about my plan so far, drop a like on this video, and let's pull this off together. As I left the house to prep for the HOA meeting, I glanced at our red barn glowing in the afternoon sun. Dolores might think she was queen, but I'd show her who Pinewood Valley belonged to. With the community lot now owned by Carver Holdings LLC, I felt like I held the ace in my showdown with Dolores Pritchard. The $1,000 fine for our red barn and the tacky hillbilly insult in front of my kids weren't just slights. They were proof of her plot to control Pinewood Valley. Our secret crew. Carl Jenkins, Lena Ortiz, and I was ready to land the knockout blow. Dolores thought she was queen, but I was about to send her packing, with the whole town laughing. The HOA meeting for Dolores's lot preservation plan was the perfect stage. She pitched a $60 monthly fee per household, hiding her condo scheme. Her arrogance, jabbing at gaudy newcomers like me, drew side eyes from the crowd. Lena texted our group. Now's the time. Wait, tear her act apart. I took a deep breath, feeling like a boxer, ready to throw the final punch. I called my cousin, a local deputy sheriff, to show up at the meeting for extra drama. I prepped the lot's ownership papers, vetted by a lawyer. Carl and Lena would back me, ready to toss hard questions if needed. Sarah, Mia, and Ethan stayed home, but sent a message. Dad, make her eat her words. Mia included a sketch of Dolores in her red t-shirt, waving a fine notice like a sword, captioned, "Paint her red, Dad." I grinned, fueled by my family. Meeting day arrived, and the small hall was packed. Dolores, plump with short blonde hair, stood at the podium in her red t-shirt and black pants, cocky as a queen. Her PowerPoint was full of empty talk about community value and bright futures. She stressed the fee was vital to preserve the lot, dodging her condo plans. A few nodded, but I caught plenty of skeptical glances. Dolores was losing her grip. When she opened the floor for questions, I stood, heart pounding, but voice steady. "Monsieur Pritchard." A question. She squinted, clearly not expecting me to speak. "The community lot belongs to the HOA. Right. So why pay to protect what's ours?" The hall buzzed. Dolores forced a smile. "Mr. Carver, the lot's a shared asset, but needs investment to maintain." I stepped forward, pulling the ownership papers from my pocket, holding them high. "Funny thing, I checked, and the lot isn't HOA property. It's leased from Pinewood Holdings, and that lease expired." The room went dead quiet. Dolores froze, face paling. "What's more," I went on, "I'm the new owner. Through Carver Holdings, LLC. You're all on my land without permission. This meeting's over." I signaled my cousin, who strode in, uniform crisp. The crowd gasped. Dolores stammered. "This is absurd." I handed the papers to a nearby resident. "Check them. I've got every right." "Miss Pritchard." My cousin nodded, motioning for folks to clear out. Dolores stood rooted, blue eyes wild, like her world just crumbled. Word spread like wildfire. The next day, I announced the lot would become Pinewood Palette Park, and I hired street artists, led by Mia, to paint blazing red murals. Some cheekily depicted Dolores, her waving fines, red t-shirt bursting, or chasing a flying red barn. I launched a Red Fever festival, with red balloons, food trucks, and a local band, drawing the whole town. At the festival, Lena displayed her data on a big screen, exposing Dolores's pattern of targeting new and minority residents with unfair fines. The crowd was livid. An HOA audit kicked off, uncovering her funneling funds to personal accounts. Dolores tried suing me, claiming community rights to the lot, but the case collapsed when the judge saw my papers. Her Valley Vista properties tanked under financial pressure, and she slunk out of Pinewood Valley after local kids TP'd her fence with red streamers, a colorful send-off. I started free art classes at the park, barring HOA leaders' kids until their parents quit. Most resigned in days. I handed Pinewood Palette Park to a community trust, with new, transparent HOA rules led by Carl. The Red Fever Festival became an annual bash, and Mia beamed as her Dolores caricature hung at the park's entrance. Ethan, splattered with red paint, laughed. "Dad, she's got to regret messing with our barn." Standing by the park at sunset, I thought of Dolores. She figured a fine and a few insults could break me. But I learned from years in construction, the strongest player waits for the right moment and hits hard. Pinewood Valley's our home now, blazing red, and no one can take that away. After toppling Dolores Pritchard and turning the community lot into Pinewood Palette Park, Wade Carver felt like Pinewood Valley had been reborn. Our red barn, once dubbed an artistic crime by her, now stood as a symbol of unity. The Red Fever Festival wasn't just a hilarious payback. It marked the start of a tight-knit community where no one feared absurd fines. But the story didn't end there. I wanted to ensure this spirit would last forever. One crisp fall morning, I stood by our blazing red barn, watching Mia add to a mural on the park through the fence. Petite, in a paint-splattered white t-shirt, Her eyes sparkled as she painted a red horse galloping across clouds. "Dad, this park belongs to everyone, right?" Mia asked, brush in hand. I nodded. "You bet, kid, and we'll keep it that way." Ethan, lanky with a freckled face, rolled up with a can of red paint, grinning. "Dad, next festival, I want red fireworks." Sarah, with fierce green eyes, hugged me from behind. "Wade, you've given the kids something to be proud of." Pinewood Palette Park quickly became Pinewood Valley's heart. The red murals, especially the caricature of Dolores Pritchard waving a fine notice, drew tourists from nearby towns. Some residents even suggested naming the park's entrance Barn Boulevard to honor our fight. Carl Jenkins, now the new HOA president, held transparent meetings at the park, where folks freely shared ideas. Lean with gray hair, Carl often joked, "Wade, you turned the HOA from a nightmare into a fun club." His sharp brown eyes gleamed with joy as residents clapped after each meeting. Lena Ortiz, with long black hair and a determined gaze, kept watch over HOA finances. She uncovered more evidence of Dolores's shady deals, helping residents reclaim thousands in misused funds. In a teal blouse, Lena told me at a meeting, "Wade, because of you, we're not afraid to speak the truth anymore." I smiled, proud of allies like her and Carl, to keep the park alive. I founded the Pinewood Palette Fund, bankrolling free art classes for kids and adults. Mia became a teaching assistant, showing kids how to paint red horses soaring through clouds. Ethan, brimming with teen energy, ran graffiti contests, turning the park's walls into an outdoor gallery. I also launched a scholarship in Sarah's name, supporting high schoolers pursuing art or architecture. Sarah, hearing the news, hugged me tight. "Wade, you really painted the town red, in the best way." Not everything was smooth sailing. A small group, former Dolores loyalists, spread rumors I planned to sell the park to developers. I squashed it at a community meeting, publicly sharing the Pinewood Palette Fund's documents. "This lot belongs to Pinewood Valley forever," I declared, holding up the trust agreement. Residents cheered, and the rumor mongers slunk away. Carl winked. "Wade, you're our red cowboy." A year later, Pinewood Valley was more vibrant than ever. The second Red Fever Festival drew thousands, with red face painting booths, mural contests, and a dazzling red light show in the sky. Mia and Ethan, paint smeared, led kids in painting a new mural of the community holding hands. A tourist, snapping a photo of the Dolores caricature, laughed. "Whoever dreamed this up is a genius." I glanced at Mia, who winked. "That was my idea, Dad." I spruced up our barn, adding a plaque that read, "Red Barn, where Pinewood's spirit began." Old residents, once cowed by Dolores, were now friends, gathering at the park for coffee and stories. Every time I passed the park, the smell of fresh paint and sound of laughter reminded me of the fight we won, not just for my family, but for all of Pinewood Valley. Standing by the park at sunset, watching it glow red, I thought of Dolores. She underestimated me, thinking a fine and a few insults could make me fold. But I learned from construction, victory goes to the patient, the one who seizes the moment and goes big. Pinewood Valley's our home now, a place of freedom and creativity, and red will always be its spirit. If you love this story and want to follow more red-hot adventures, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell. Together, we'll keep painting the world with the colors of unity and joy.